In the heart of the dense, shadow-laden forests, where the moonlight barely penetrates the thick canopy, lies a forgotten village. It's a place where time seems to stand still, and whispers of ancient legends dance among the rustling leaves. The villagers speak in hushed tones of creatures that prowl the night, their eyes gleaming with an insatiable hunger, their thirst unquenchable. They speak of vampires. Among the villagers, there was a young woman named Elena, whose beauty was said to rival that of the moon itself. She lived with her aging grandmother in a small cottage at the edge of the woods, surrounded by a barrier of garlic and silver charms to ward off evil. But despite their precautions, the villagers knew that no one was truly safe from the creatures that lurked in the darkness. One fateful night, as the moon hung low in the sky, casting eerie shadows across the land, Elena heard a soft tapping at her window. She peered out into the night, her heart pounding with fear, and saw a figure standing in the moonlight, its eyes glowing like twin orbs of fire. Frozen with terror, she watched as the figure beckoned her forth, its voice a seductive whisper on the wind. Against her better judgment, Elena found herself drawn to the creature, unable to resist its otherworldly allure. As she stepped out into the night, the air grew thick with the scent of blood, and she felt a chill run down her spine. The creature's lips curled into a sinister smile as it revealed its true nature, a vampire, ancient and powerful, with a hunger that could never be satisfied. But instead of sinking its fangs into her flesh, the vampire spoke of a prophecy, a tale as old as time itself. It spoke of a chosen one, a mortal whose blood could grant immortality to the one who drank it. And it spoke of Elena, whose destiny was intertwined with that of the vampire, bound together by fate and blood. Terrified yet strangely intrigued, Elena listened as the vampire spoke of a journey into the heart of darkness, where untold dangers awaited. With each word, she felt a strange power stirring within her, a power she could neither comprehend nor control. And as the night wore on, she knew that her life would never be the same again. But as the first light of dawn began to streak across the sky, the vampire vanished into the shadows, leaving Elena alone with her thoughts and her fears. And as she gazed out into the fading darkness, she knew that the journey was only just beginning, and that the true horror had yet to reveal itself. As the days turned into weeks, Elena found herself haunted by dreams of blood and darkness, visions of a world beyond her wildest imaginings. And with each passing night, the whispers of the villagers grew louder, their warnings echoing in her ears. But despite their fear and mistrust, Elena knew that she could not turn back, that her fate was sealed with the blood of the vampire. And as she prepared to embark on her journey into the unknown, she knew that the path ahead would be fraught with peril, that the creatures of the night would stop at nothing to claim her as their own. But she also knew that she was not alone, that somewhere out there in the darkness, the vampire waited, its hunger as fierce as ever, its thirst for her blood unquenchable. And as she set out into the night, she knew that her destiny was written in the stars, that her fate was bound to that of the vampire, for better or for worse, for all eternity. As Elena ventured deeper into the heart of darkness, guided by the cryptic whispers of the vampire and the ancient prophecies that seemed to weave themselves into her very soul, she encountered challenges beyond her wildest nightmares. The forest grew denser, the shadows thicker, and the air seemed to hum with a malevolent energy that sent shivers down her spine. Strange creatures lurked in the darkness, their eyes gleaming with hunger as they watched her pass, their forms shifting and twisting like shadows in the night. But despite the dangers that surrounded her, Elena pressed on, driven by a sense of purpose that burned like a beacon in the darkness. With each step she took, she felt the power within her growing stronger, the ancient blood of the vampire calling out to her, drawing her ever closer to her destiny. Yet as she delved deeper into the heart of the forest, she began to sense that she was not alone. Whispers echoed through the trees, voices from a distant past, warning her of the dangers that lay ahead. And in the depths of the shadows, she glimpsed fleeting figures, their forms shifting and twisting like phantoms in the night. But try as she might, Elena could not shake the feeling that she was being watched, that unseen eyes followed her every move, their gaze cold and calculating. And as the nights grew longer and the darkness deeper, she knew that the true horror had yet to reveal itself. With each passing day, the line between reality and nightmare blurred, and Elena found herself questioning everything she thought she knew. Was she truly the chosen one, destined to grant immortality to the vampire that haunted her dreams? Or was she merely a pawn in a game whose rules she could not comprehend? As she wrestled with these doubts, Elena found herself drawn deeper into the web of intrigue that surrounded her, her every step guided by forces beyond her control. And as she faced the trials that lay ahead, she knew that the true test of her courage and resolve was yet to come. For lurking in the darkness, hidden from sight, awaited a darkness more ancient and terrible than any she had ever known. And as Elena prepared to confront the horrors that awaited her, she knew that her journey was far from over, and that the fate of both mortal and vampire alike hung in the balance. As Elena ventured deeper into the forest, she couldn't shake the feeling of being pulled toward an unseen destination. The whispers of the vampire echoed in her mind, urging her onward with promises of power and destiny. Yet, alongside those whispers, there were other voices, softer but no less insistent, warning her of the dangers that lay ahead. The path twisted and turned, leading her deeper into the heart of darkness, where the very air seemed to throne with an ancient power. Strange symbols etched into the trees glowed faintly in the moonlight, casting eerie shadows on the forest floor. Elena felt a sense of unease creeping over her, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling around her. But still, she pressed on, driven by a sense of purpose that burned brighter with each step. She knew that she was on the brink of discovering something that would change the course of her life forever, something that would shake the very foundations of the world she thought she knew. As she journeyed deeper into the forest, Elena began to sense a presence watching her, a feeling of being hunted by eyes that never blinked. She quickened her pace, her heart pounding in her chest, but no matter how fast she ran, the feeling of being followed never faded. And then, just when she thought she could go no further, she stumbled upon a clearing bathed in moonlight. At the center of the clearing stood a crumbling stone altar, its surface marred by centuries of neglect. Surrounding the altar were figures draped in shadow, their faces hidden from view. As Elena approached the altar, she felt a strange sense of familiarity wash over her, as if she had been here before, in another life perhaps. The figures surrounding the altar began to stir, their movements slow and deliberate. And then, as one, they turned to face her, their eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. Elena's breath caught in her throat as she realized the truth. These were not just ordinary creatures of the night, but something far more ancient and terrible. They were the guardians of the prophecy, tasked with ensuring that its dark purpose was fulfilled. And as she stood before them, trembling with fear and anticipation, Elena knew that her journey was far from over. For the true test of her courage and resolve lay not in the forest, but in the darkness that lay beyond, where the fate of both mortal and vampire alike hung in the balance. As Elena stood before the ancient guardians, a chill swept through the clearing, freezing the very air around her. Their eyes bore into her, each one seeming to pierce through her soul, probing her thoughts and desires. She felt a surge of fear rising within her, threatening to overwhelm her senses, but she forced herself to stand firm, to meet their gaze with steely resolve. One of the figures, taller and more imposing than the rest, stepped forward, its voice a low, guttural rumble that echoed through the clearing. "You have come seeking the truth, mortal," it intoned, its words sending shivers down Elena's spine. "But the truth you seek comes at a price that few are willing to pay." Elena swallowed hard, her throat dry and constricted. "I will pay whatever price is necessary," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I seek only to fulfill my destiny, to uncover the secrets that lie hidden in the darkness." The guardian regarded her with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. "Destiny is a fickle thing, mortal," it said, its voice dripping with scorn. "It can lift you to great heights or cast you into the abyss. Are you truly prepared to face the consequences of your actions?" Elena hesitated, her resolve wavering for the briefest of moments. But then, she remembered the vampire's words, the promises of power and immortality that had spurred her on this journey. She squared her shoulders, steeling herself against the doubts that threatened to consume her. "I am ready," she declared, her voice ringing with newfound determination. "Whatever lies ahead, I will face it with courage and strength." The guardian nodded, a grim smile playing across its lips. "Very well, mortal," it said, "but know this. The path you have chosen is fraught with danger, and not all who seek the truth emerge unscathed. Proceed with caution, for the darkness that lies ahead is not easily conquered." With that, the guardian stepped aside, gesturing for Elena to continue on her journey. As she passed through the clearing, she felt a strange sense of foreboding settling over her, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling around her. But still, she pressed on, driven by the burning desire to uncover the secrets that lay hidden in the darkness. And as she disappeared into the depths of the forest, the guardians watched her go, their eyes following her every move with a mixture of curiosity and dread. For they knew that the path she had chosen would lead not only to her destiny, but to the destiny of all who dwelled in the shadowy realm of the night. And as the echoes of her footsteps faded into the distance, they whispered a silent prayer, hoping against hope that she would emerge from the darkness unscathed. As Elena ventured deeper into the darkness, facing trials and challenges beyond imagination, she discovered within herself a strength she never knew she possessed. With each obstacle overcome, she grew more confident, more determined to see her quest through to the end. And then, after what felt like an eternity of struggle and hardship, she finally reached the heart of the darkness, the place where the truth awaited her. There, she stood face to face with the vampire, whose hunger had driven her on this perilous journey. But instead of succumbing to the creature's dark desires, Elena found herself filled with a sense of compassion and understanding. She saw beyond the monster's insatiable thirst to the tortured soul that lay beneath, and in that moment, she realized that the true power lay not in the darkness, but in the light that dwelled within her. With a single act of selflessness, Elena offered the vampire redemption, breaking the cycle of violence and despair that had bound them both for so long. And in return, the vampire granted her a gift beyond measure, the gift of life, renewed and filled with promise. As the first rays of dawn broke through the darkness, Elena emerged from the forest, her heart light and free. She had faced her fears, confronted the darkness within and without, and emerged victorious. And as she looked out at the world spread before her, she knew that her journey was far from over, but that whatever trials lay ahead, she would face them with courage and grace. And so, with a newfound sense of purpose and determination, Elena set out into the world, ready to embrace whatever the future held. For she knew that as long as she held fast to the light within, no darkness could ever truly extinguish her spirit. And as she disappeared into the light of the rising sun, she carried with her the hope of a brighter tomorrow, where love and compassion reigned supreme, and where even the darkest of souls could find redemption.